Okay, here's the question that you've all given me to do. So I've got to find the area of a rectangle which has got a width x and a length x over 2 add 4, and the area is 2 square units, and I've got to find the length of each edge in surd form. So what I'm going to do first is I'll just draw myself a little sketch using my amazing art skills, and they've got an area of 2, and I've got width x and length x over 2 plus 4. So if I've got to find the length of each edge, then I know that the area of a rectangle is the length times the width. So if I multiply those two things together, getting that, I've been told that the area of that is 2. So now I'm going to expand out the bracket, so I get this. And one thing we've learnt in Core 1 is that quadratic formulae and equations come up everywhere. So I'm going to try and change it around so I can solve one of those. And to do that, I need it to equal 0. So this divide by 2 thing here makes it more difficult. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to multiply up by 2. Now, a common mistake people make is they'll multiply it by 2, but they forget to do this part by 2 as well. So I'm not going to forget that, because that'd just be silly. And I get this. And now I'm going to take the 4 away, like so. So I've now got it equal to 0, so I can now solve this using a quadratic equation. Now, I can see quite quickly that this won't factorise. So what I'm going to do is I can either complete the square or I can use the quadratic formula. Now there's a clue in the question here because it says in surd form. So that kind of told me really that it was never going to factorise and I could use the quadratic equation or surd form. So I think I'll go for the quadratic equation. So here a is 1 because the number in front of the x squared is 1. B is 8 because it's the coefficient of x. And c is minus 4. So the quadratic formula is x equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. So x equals minus b, so that's minus 8, plus or minus the square root of 8 squared minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is minus 4, all divided by 2a, and 2 times 1 is just 2 still. So let's work that out. Minus 8 plus or minus the square root of 8 squared, that's 64, and then minus 4 times minus 4, that's plus 16, so that's actually add 16 there. Again, all divided by 2. So that's minus 8 plus or minus the square root of 80, all divided by 2. So I've got two choices now. Either x is minus 80 plus or minus, plus minus 8 plus the square root of 80 all over 2, or x is minus 8 minus root 80 all over 2. Now I can see at a very early stage that this is going to give me a negative number. Now if I relate this back to the initial question, I've been asked for the length of the edge of a rectangle there. It doesn't make sense that I'm going to get a negative answer, so therefore I'm not going to use that one. I'm not going to continue with that. So I'm just going to work on this one over here. So x equals minus 8 plus, now root 80, I can simplify that. I can write that as a square number that goes into 80, 16. 16 goes in 5 times. So I can write that as root 16 times 5, all divided by 2. And we know from our surd rules that I can now write that as minus 8 plus 4 root 5 over 2, which means that x equals minus 4 plus 2 root 5. Now, the original question said write down the length of each edge in surd form. Well, the edge here, x, I've done that because I've got a value for x here. So I need to find the length. The length was x over 2 add 4. So let's just turn this over now. I've got x over 2 add 4. And I know that x now is minus 4 add 2 root 5. all over 2, add 4. So that now becomes minus 2, add root 5, add 4. So that means that edge, that length is 2 plus root 5. And they are the length, so this represents the length of the rectangle, and this represents the width of the rectangle, both written in surd form.